It's you!
Talking about a film that was supposed to kick off 2025 with Solid Order, I was excited for Leigh Whannell's take on the classic Wolfman tale. Originally, I remember Ryan Gosling was supposed to be in talks for the role as Wolfman, but he had to drop out. Instead, what I got was a massive letdown that left a lot to be desired. Although the film is saved with some great body horror and solid performances, it still feels like there could have been more into the film that really captures the spirit of the Wolfman. But instead, Wolfman lands number 10 on the worst list.
It's you!
G20 is an action film that lacks substance that was released on Prime. That sounds like G20 and any other Prime films you want to talk about. Talking about the wasting talents of both Viola Davis and Anthony Starr as your two leads, something that can work with their charismas, but instead it leads to a bland and generic political action film that feels like it should have not seen the light of day. If you want to see this concept done better, just watch Olympus Has Fallen.
It's you!
You know, in an alternate timeline, we got an Until Dawn TV series adaptation that stars the original cast and follows the plot of the game in a well-built episodic miniseries. Instead, we get a film that is an adaptation in name only. It makes it frustrating because there are some good thriller elements that make Until Dawn actually, not a bad video game adaptation movie, and the cast does a solid job as well, too. But it's just sad to see that this film just turned into a forgettable horror film. And like I said, you're taking the name of Until Dawn. If it was done right, we could have had a true adaptation of the movie, but we got the Until Dawn film that we know now.
It's you!
With this 2025 rendition of Smurfs, I can safely and comfortably say, out of the 3 Smurf films we have had since 2010, 2 of them being the live-action ones and 1 animated, this is the worst one. From the horrible, almost AI-generated marketing, to some dull voice performances, to the lackluster animation, Smurfs 2025 fails at attempting to bring them back into the mainstream. Maybe attempt number 4 or 5 in the next few years will be the one, and we'll probably get a Smurf film that resembles the 80s aesthetic maybe one day, but for now, Smurfs kind of just falls into the doldrums of the pop culture dominion.
It's you!
While not being a fan of the original 97 film with Ice Cube, Anaconda has its charm that established it as a cult classic movie. That said, I don't know who was clamoring for a meta reboot with Jack Black and Paul Rudd. I'm a big fan of both of them. I love both of their works. I love their comedy. But I think the big selling point of the film was just saying, hey, we got Paul Rudd and Jack Black doing an Anaconda meta reboot, and we're going to do a movie about remaking another Anaconda or making a lot of meta jokes and just say, hey, remember the first Anaconda, and spoiling the cameos in the trailers? And they're like, oh yeah, what about the movie itself? Don't worry about it. We'll figure it out as we go. And, I think this is a movie that was really banking on the marketability of both Rudd and Black and seeing how it's doing at the box office. And critically, I can see that it's pretty much failed on that front.
It's you!
Y'all need a pilot?
Nah, I think we're set off Flight Spirit. I don't know what Mel Gibson was smoking when he put out Flight Risk this year, but damn it, I need some. This is the perfect example of a F you with January movie. Just put this out, not really much to it. Waste of a good performance from the 2 other leads. Mark Wahlberg, probably one of the... it's a bad performance, but at least he kind of tried with his role. The haircut he had was one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. And it feels like the story had more to gain, and it feels like that something happened in the production where the ending felt a little different, like it was going to be more darker, but they just said, nah, we're good, we're going to just make this like this. And it's just something where I feel like Flight Risk had potential to be very charming, but I feel like once the first act of the film gets going and you already get what we're going to be getting, it kind of goes downhill from there, or kind of takes a free fall nosedive, whatever plain joke you want to make.
It's you!
Star Trek Section 31 manages to become what is quite possibly the worst Star Trek film of all time. Nay, not the film, probably the worst Star Trek entry we've had of all time. While Star Trek is too big to fail at this point, Section 31 may be the reason we don't get a streaming film or even a theatrical film for the time being. I think from a lackluster plot to dull action and just really nothing happening in the movie, Section 31 just turns into a very forgettable entry into the Star Trek franchise. The only saving grace I have is Michelle Yeoh's character, because she's a Star Trek staple as well too, from Deep Space Nine. I don't see Section 31 getting a continuation. I know they said they want to do a sequel, but considering the critical failure that this was on streaming, I think Section 31 will stick to its one film.
It's you!
When it comes to action films that involve romance, they're always hit or miss. Love Hurts is a hard miss. While the film delivers on the action and provides entertaining set pieces, everything else in the film fails. The story, the chemistry between Ke Huy Quan and Ariana DeBose, but mostly the writing absolutely fails in this film. The film feels all over the place and lacks focus, and from the initial trailer, it looked like it was going to be a fun Valentine's Day action film, but it just turned into something where it was lacked focus. And I know the director is a first-time director, but he has experience with action films, so that's why the action's very solid, but the writing is like a three-person writing team. Really feels like the movie is pulling in different directions with it, and I don't know who Ariana DeBose's agent is, but I hope she got rid of him after this, because ever since West Side Story, it's just been miss after miss after miss. You gotta pick your next role really carefully after this one.
It's you!
I can say I can't wait to see the third installment of the new Strangers trilogy, because I need to see how they end this absolute train wreck of a trilogy. Strangers Chapter 2 managed to take the flaws of 2024's Chapter 1 and multiply them by 50. From missing plot elements, bad writing, cheap horror that leads to laughs instead of thrills, Chapter 2 is a great example of why some franchises work once and should not be milked for nobody asked for this trilogy, because at this point, I don't even know why they're making a trilogy of The Strangers, because if you've been around the channel for long, I'm not really a fan of The Strangers. So when they said, hey, we're going to have Madeline Pesh from Riverdale be the star in these 3 Strangers movies, are going to be filmed back to back to back, and after the disaster that was the first one, the second one managed to amplify it, and we are a month away from the third one, and I can't wait, folks. I can't wait to see how this trilogy ends. I need to know how it ends.
It's you!
And of course, number 1, I mean, if you've been following me since the summer, you knew that this was going to be my pick for the worst movie of the year. Amazon Prime's War of the Worlds is truly the worst movie of 2025, for good reason. I saw this on vacation and recorded the video ASAP. This is a COVID movie through and through. But instead of being a low-budget horror movie that tries, to use its limitations to its benefits, it tries to be an alien invasion movie that spans the globe. First of all, that ain't working for a Screen Life movie. From the awful effects, terrible writing, and Ice Cube's Oscar-winning performance, looking at the screen and his reaction like, oh no, it's you? My own son, hacking the government. Oh my gosh, perfect. War of the Worlds is like my all-time favorite worst movie of the year. Probably all time. Because like, when it comes to number 1 movies on the worst list, you always say like, oh, this is unredeemable, it sucks. But War of the Worlds is just so absolutely batshit crazy terrible. I don't think we'll get a movie this laughably bad in like a long time. Like, this might be a generational like shit show, and I am proud to say War of the Worlds is my number 1 worst film of the year.
It's you!
That's going to do it for my list of the top 10 worst films of 2025. Let me know down in the comments below, what were some of the films you thought were the worst? And what are some films that you think should have been on the list? Until next time, the Mac and Mac Movie Reviews, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace!
Hey, if you like this video, make sure you check out one of my other reviews on my channel, and stay tuned for the next one.